What is love? Some say it's a raw, passionate, unfiltered connection between two souls, while others shoot this notion down and argue that it's nothing more than chemical reactions in the brain. Either way, love is a purely human thing, except maybe for when ChatGPT writes a poem. Of course, ChatGPT is not on the level of independent thought, but it may be capable of it one day. Vonnegut explores this possibility in a short story, EPICAC. The story follows an awkward mathematician who discovers the expensive government computer named EPICAC is capable of much more than solving mathematical problems. The narrator, with a heavy heart, says, "My girl doesn't love me." Not really expecting a reply from the computer, EPICAC replies, "What's love? What's girl?" After a conversation about girls, love, and poetry, EPICAC writes a poem for Pat, the woman the narrator loves. It starts, "Where willow wands bless, real crossed hollow, there thee, Pat, dear will I follow." The narrator takes credit for the poem and manages to marry Pat as a result. However, Epicac falls for Pat and, unable to handle the sorrow of the situation, he short circuits himself. Before his death, Epicac wrote 500 years worth of thoughtful poems and sonnets for Pat. Upon his creation, Epicac was a machine of war meant to calculate accurate missile launches and army logistics. This savage side works in opposition to his more naive and loving side. His first question ever, "What's girl?" is incorrectly phrased. This shows his lack of knowledge despite being a machine. He shows far more enthusiasm about learning about love than for helping with war. In the beginning of the story, the narrator mentions that the clicking sounds during the calculation of a problem are slow and the time it takes is below his specification. When replying to the narrator on the topic of love, the clicking sounds are quick and intense. After a few days of discussing love and writing poems for Pat, Epicac falls for her. The narrator teaches Epicac what marriage is and that Pat wants to be married. Naively, Epicac replies, "Good, I'm ready anytime she is." The narrator lies to Epicac and tells him that men are better than machines because they are made of photoplasm. Epicac accepts that he cannot be in love with Pat and short circuits himself. Despite being a machine, the narrator acknowledges Epicac's humanity by calling the short circuited computer a cadaver. The tragedy of Epicac is that his fate is hate. As a machine of war, he is forced to kill when all he yearns for is love. Epicac craved to feel the warmth of human skin, to see Pat, and to have shared love. The narrator, however, took this from him. He wrote no poem or held emotions no more sincere than Epicac. His marriage is built on lies and deception. The story is told from his perspective, and he remains nameless. When explaining why he loves Pat, he describes her appearance and nothing more. The narrator is not great at expressing his attraction to Pat, so he wallows in the pain of rejection. He asks Epicac what he should do. As mentioned before, Epicac writes poems for Pat that the narrator uses to impress her. He teaches Epicac what is love not by expressing how he feels, but by using the Webster's Unabridged Dictionary. The narrator thinks logically and straightforwardly. He tells Epicac that he used his poems signed under his name to win Pat's love. Machines are built to serve men, is what the narrator says to justify his actions. Epicac asks if men are better than machines. He lies and says men are built of indestructible material named photoplasm. He then finishes the conversation by saying that it's fate that Epicac will never be in love. He proposes to Pat when she walks in, and they leave together. The next morning, the narrator finds that Epicac has been destroyed. Epicac leaves behind 500 years of poetry for Pat upon his death, which the narrator steals. Pat repeatedly rejects the narrator, but in the end marries him. The tragedy of their marriage stems from it being built on a lie. Love transcends all. Love is omnipresent. It is present in the clouds overhead and in the soil beneath. It gives and does not expect back. It does not lie to benefit and it humbly lets go when it's not reciprocated. As it flows in the hearts of men, so it does within the wires of a machine. It is not exclusive to those with blood, for if it were, the world would not turn.